Okay, here we go. All right, y'all, what is shaking? Marc Cordone, Golden Mic Live. You haven't seen me in a while on these Golden Mics, so you probably can't tell. It's still me. It's Marc. So you can probably recognize me from the voice. And so I want you to come up real close because I haven't been on a live in a while. I want you guys to come up real close. I did not bullshit with you when I said that I travel everywhere with this paper. Dated December, can you see that, guys? December 5th, 1995. It's a 5.5 page paper, and it was pretty much one of two papers that I have finished in my academic career. And the reason I keep it is because of a note that my professor left. And I hope you don't mind, Terry.
No, read it.
Marc, I've enjoyed your writing all semester, and I hope you will continue to write in the future. That's when I cut him off and I said, but I'm going to be a doctor. And he goes, regardless of what career you choose, you are a talented writer and you have much to say.
Oh my gosh, that is why I keep it.
I was 18 years old, and it's taken me like a quarter century to find like that feeling again. It's felt like ages since I've been able to write and speak and like talk without the general anxiety disorder completely taking over my body, which is why I am so proud to have on today. That's right. I see you guys hitting that like. I see you guys. It's been a while, but I see you guys hitting that like. But like that's why I'm so proud to have on today. Not only another Filipino, not only somebody when I first took the stage and I was rehearsing this one time for Speakers Who Dare, and I heard this big laugh in the crowd during the rehearsals. Ha! And I was like, oh my God, what was so bad about it? And I was like, oh my gosh, there's humor in my speech. I didn't even think about this. And she probably doesn't remember that. Someone who has really unlocked a passion again for something that I've always wanted to do, which is write, be compelling, and be myself. And especially when we're doing things like Joy Revolutions, people, you can't really hire copy people for that shit. Terry Trespicio, I got your name right. If you see the replay, you'll see that I have your name right. TEDx speaker, and we're not only talking about a TEDx speaker, 6.5 million views and shooting up. She's writing a book. She empowers so many people. She goes around the interwebs, New York City, wherever you are, speaking and empowering people. And I absolutely love the time that I get to spend with Terry. Terry, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you today, my friend?
I'm feeling good.
That's good. That's one part of positive psychology is feeling good, right?
Yeah, well, I also feel like in the air something's changed and it's like new season, new energy, new vibes. I put socks on today. I haven't put socks on in like months.
Really?
So it's like ready for a new thing.
Did you know in my questioning route I was gonna ask, are you wearing shoes right now? So yeah. But I didn't want you to ask me because I haven't cut my nails in a week. So like I wasn't gonna do that. But like so like here we are talking right now. You're a part of the Joy Revolution for this round. I've seen what you've been able to do, but like I want to kind of go back to little Terry. Like, were you always this kind of brainiac, like this kind of brainiac wonderkind writer?
Brainiac Wonderkind would not be what I would say. And it's funny because my sister's been going through some old pictures and she just sent me this, which is hilarious. Just me dressing up like a lady when I was a little kid, like trying to pass myself off as a grown-ass woman.
Now, is that an Easter bonnet?
Yeah, I think I was like got into someone's clothes and was playing dress up with little heels on that were definitely did not fit me. My sister sent this to me and she's like, fake it till you make it. I was like, that is correct.
Now, are there pads in those shoulders?
Oh yeah, please. I'm all padded up. But no, Marc, I've always loved to write. But I spent my young years, like a lot of you, riddled with insecurity and doubt. And didn't matter what we were good at or what we liked doing. We just were like, what does this even mean? We don't know. I mean, I was a very anxious kid. So, writing and being alone and writing was a place that I felt pretty safe. But yeah, little Terry was like not exactly like crushing. I was like curled in a corner. Like I made my dad put a lamp in my closet so I could go in the closet and being an even tinier space where I could sit.
What?
I like that feeling of being contained in a small, cozy space. My bedroom, which was not very big, was still too big. And so I needed to go into my closet so I could get away. I love the idea of getting away and reading or writing.
I kind of feel this very similar. I mean, I've never talked. I think you've seen in my writing, I'm riddled with anxiety and
I mean, it does
neuroticism.
for great writing. It makes for some great writing. You know
But
whose writing's really boring? Really confident people who have nothing to say.
and that's not me. But like, I remember, I would make a pillow fort. I would pull two chairs together and I'd put the Velux blanket over the top and I'd have a flashlight and then I'd do like my drawings in there and
Why
I'd
do
do
we
all
do
my
that?
stuff.
Love that.
It's and I felt like I needed to be in a even smaller space, right?
Mhm.
And I'm kind of like, I don't know about you, but like I'm seeing so many people, including myself. I feel like I'm not an outlier in terms of like communication nowadays and struggling to like get their voice and just put it out there. And I'm looking at what you have been able to accomplish, and like I think I'm gonna know the answer here. It's a loaded question,
Go ahead.
but
See
it's
if you know the
like
answer. I love it.
it's like 6.5 million. It's like she must have the moxie to stand up in front of all these people. She must have the moxie to be on Simon and Schuster and write right now without any kind of gremlins going on.
That's not true at all. I mean, it could not be less true. First of all, I got up on that stage to give a TED Talk the way thousands of other speakers have. It's not like I said, I have a goal. I'm going to hit 6 million views. I'm not real big into these big ass goals like that. Like, I was like, that was fun. I gave the talk. I said, I hope someone watched it or will ever watch it again. It was an audience of like 3,000 people. I said, wow, live audience. This is exciting. That was really exciting and fun. I had no idea that it would take off. It wasn't like I strategized. We give a little too much credit for strategizing. I gave the best talk I could give, and then I walked away and I said, I hope that that helped somebody. And I didn't know that it would continue to. And guess what? This was 5 years ago. No one was looking for me. No one was looking for me. So I got up there and gave a talk like many other people have. If I had an answer for why that talk did well, all I can tell you is that it wasn't me because I'm anything special, because I'm not. It was that I was able to hit a nerve with a message that mattered to people. So I actually I run my own business. I am, on paper, you would say, a personality-led business like you are, because it's just me over here and people who help me, but it's basically me.
Right.
But I think that the cult of personality it's not that it has nothing to do with it, but you don't get to those kinds of views or things thinking that you somehow A, deserve it, or B, people are supposed to listen to you. I didn't know. I think a lot of the stuff that happens to us happens a little bit by surprise, but it doesn't happen by accident. By surprise, but not by accident.
Talk more about that. Surprise, but not by accident.
It's not, you can't get 6 million views by accident. And I also never had that as a goal. It's that, oh, someone liked it, it spoke to them. So I believe, especially when it comes to getting your message out there, like you're saying, and writing and speaking are the way to do it, because you're either doing it on an audio, a video, or you're writing it. I mean, unless you're into charades, I mean, I don't know how else you get your message out there. But when it comes to public...
Well, being the best Filipino band in the South, we also got a message out there.
You got your message out. But, well, of course, art, there's a million ways to express. I'm not a painter or musician, so you are more of an expert in that. I do think that, like, the surprise, but not by accident, means that when you are delivering something that will land for other people, it has very little to do with you, the you, meaning has very little to do with me.
Yeah.
And so when people say, oh, can you do all this great speaking because you're so confident and everyone likes you? No, I actually believe I feel the safest. This little girl who liked to hide in her little closet and read. I also feel very safe on stage, not because I have some kind of magical gift, but because I've discovered that the key is to disappear inside the message. Because when someone's watching you speak or someone's reading your work, they're not thinking about you. They are thinking about themselves. So when I can disappear into a message that I believe is worthwhile for that person, I know I don't matter all that much. And that's why I say you don't have to think of yourself as anything special or great or everyone should listen to me. Ego's not your friend in that situation. It hasn't been my friend. The opposite of anxiety is not more ego, because there's a lot of anxious people who are full of ego, because the ego is a hungry beast that is never full. So I don't feed the ego. I just say, how can you?
It's a mofo. It's a mofo, right?
It's the worst friend in the world. The friend that if you could let go of that friend, you would.
Yeah. Okay. And so, like, in your journey, was there a moment that, and my ADD's kicking in. Jen Goldman, hello. It's good to see you in here.
Hey,
She says, "Hey, rock stars. It takes one to know one, sister."
That's from our group. Our little writing group.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there had to be either a light bulb moment or constantly doing this all the time. Because I mean, not only are you taking stages, but I'm seeing you MC. You've been on comedy clubs, which I find absolutely terrorizing. Like to put myself out there like that.
I'm the most scared doing that.
Okay. And
comedy terror.
Now, along the way, like, what were some of the things that were like, essentially, like, what were some of the things that you learned in terms of becoming comfortable and not feeding that ego? Because I still feel like the little kid playing violin every time I'm in front of this damn camera. I feel like the little kid playing violin.
Well, I think what's interesting is it's a leading question, because yours, oh my God.
Cumberbund.
That's you?
Yep, the cummerbund, and also there was poo-poo in his pants when they took that picture.
Oh my God, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Play violin for the in front of people. Yeah, no, I'm a little bit uncomfortable, as you are, right? I think it's good to be just a little bit uncomfortable. I don't think the ultimate thing is to be comfortable with everything you're doing all the time. I'm okay with being slightly uncomfortable. But you're saying, what were the light bulb moments that made me feel like as if I, crested this wave? I was like, oh, now I'm all good with that. Yeah. I realized that not that, oh, I'm good enough, because we'll never feel like we're good enough, right? No one ever feels quite that, when we're always battling that demon, but you don't make peace with that demon. It's more like, how did I get to do what I did? Was I realized that it served someone else's need. Kind of like, if what I can offer to someone, and I do lots of different things, lots of different ways for different people, all around writing and speaking and brand messaging, right? That's my jam. I knew I liked doing it, and I knew it had value for the other person. When I could, and I've been on my own, I got laid off from my job 9 years ago. So I've been in business for myself longer than I worked for anyone else. Right. And so that wasn't like, oh, I was confident. No, I got laid off and I was like, I don't know that I want another job. So I better figure the F out. You better figure out how to serve people's needs in a way that works for you. And the longer I've been doing this and the better I've gotten in the craft of what I do, quite frankly, the fewer people I need to work with, right? I can position my business in a way where I'm not trying to do everything for all things for all people. That's exhausting. And I don't see a value in running myself into the ground. So I think that, and this is for anyone who runs their own thing. Actually, it doesn't even matter if you run your own thing. I believe the success of anything has to do with not just how you manage other people's expectations, that's part of it, but how do you manage your own energy? Meaning, if I'm exhausted and bitchy and tired and sad, I cannot deliver what I need to deliver. So just like that violin's job is to be in its best shape so it can produce the music that little Marc is going to pull from it, I need to be in the best place that I can to be able to do that. The idea that you got to work hard to beat yourself up and this kind of hard, I don't even like to have a personal trainer. I don't want anyone yelling at me. I don't respond to that well.
Then what are you doing on this show?
because I find you fun and sweet. And
Now,
yeah, I mean,
um, I actually am thinking back to certain things too. I remember I grew up not around a lot of Asian Americans, and then I went to a college with a lot of Asian Americans, and I was put onto a stage very quickly because they were like, you are the next one, right? Like,
my God.
so like I was like, oh my gosh, and they were like, run this meeting, and I remember being absolutely terrified until I just kind of like, I was like, wait a second, like, fucking, this story doesn't matter. Like, there's something bigger here that connects all of us. And like, I started to see heads go like this, and like, there's something about when you know that your message is hitting someone in the audience and you can lock on to that. And like
Yes.
for me, that is what has. I mean, I did go into like social justice work as like, fucking, we're gonna take down the white people and stuff, and that was very ego driven and stuff. But then it seemed like getting into positive psychology, it was like, oh, okay, there's two things that I can feed. I can feed the ego, or I could feed something else. And if I starve the ego, that's fine. It'll still be hungry, and I'll feel the hunger pains, but I can still put it to the side and do something with it. And
Mhm.
that's what I love about positive psychology and the gateless writing method that you have introduced us to, or you and Suzanne and Becky and all these folks carrying the torch for gateless writing. I feel are very similar to the Joy Revolution, because you don't have to do crazy wild work beating yourself up or pretending to be something that you're not. That's why I'm very much proud of being the angriest positive psychologist in
Well,
town.
I love that about you. I love that because that anger is actually a passion, right? It's fire,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we love that. But we go back for a sec.
yeah.
When you said one of those light bulbs, I think competition is a big one. We're
Ah,
competing with each other, and
yeah,
people say to me like, "Well, what's your competition doing?" I don't care. And so I
yeah,
stopped studying. Well, I don't even know if I ever started. I'm really bad at studying up on the competition because that's them. That's what they do. I do learn from other people's businesses and have taken courses and looked at them and go, I like what they do. I like what they you do borrow from people, right? You do
absolutely. Yeah,
I'm gonna try that, I'm gonna learn from that. But I never tried to be someone else because I would get so bored with it. And I also don't find competition helpful in some ways. When you're like, well, what's other people doing in their business? You should do what they're doing. I don't like that. So I've tuned that out and I stay in my little closet with my light on, right?
oh, still in the little
So
closet.
that's it. But I want to go back because you introduced the idea of gateless writing, and I will say that
Yes.
was another turning point for me. About 7 or 8 at this point, years ago, I went on a gateless writing retreat. I didn't know that's what it was. My friend Becky Carish invited me to go on a writing retreat with this woman, Suzanne Kingsbury. I didn't know anyone. She's like, just come. I just think that you're going to really love it. And I went, and I was like, and the woman said, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a prompt. You're going to write. You're going to write for a few minutes, and then we're all going to read what we wrote,
Yeah.
and you're just going to read it out loud, having not edited it, nothing. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So, the first night everyone writes and everyone reads. I was like getting excited and nervous, and I was like feeling all these feels. And then she said, okay, here's the rules. We don't criticize. We don't fix each other's work. We just talk about where the power and energy is in the work. We talk about what's working really well. And so I went through that. We did, the whole weekend, we did several of these. And I said, this is all great, but when are you going to tell me how to be better? You're never going to teach me. If you just say nice things, I'm not going to learn anything. And she was like, oh, buttercup. She was like, here's what you don't, and I was like, but this isn't hard enough because I was always a good student. I always have worked very hard to achieve a thing, study, follow the rules, blah, blah, blah. But she said, no, these are the new rules. And something, I can't even put my finger on it, but when I got the groove of that over the course of a Thursday to a Sunday, and by the time Sunday rolled around, I felt the best way to describe it after that, my first experience with gateless writing, having been a writer my whole life, having been a good writer, solid studied writer, having earned a master's in fine arts and creative writing, having done all the stuff, having won awards and all that meant like, man, nothing. I left that retreat with wings. I felt that I flew the whole way home, and I left there and I was like, oh my God, there you are. There is the writer.
Yes.
I have been mistreating and ignoring her and not actually giving her her due. And I said, this is amazing. When is the next retreat? And I went on 2 retreats a year for years. And then I said, Now I want to go on the teacher training, not because I want to run like writing retreats. I mean, who does that? That's what Suzanne does. I don't want to do that. I went to learn it so I would know the methodology really closely. So that's why I went to the training. And I was like, I'm just going to learn it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet.
Yeah.
And a few years after that, I was using it, and it still do for everything. And would you freaking know, I turned around and I started running writing retreats. I was like, who am I? What am I doing? I thought I would do that. Like wear flowy pants and run a writing retreat? Yup, I fucking do. And so I was like, I can't believe it. Like that was not what I was going to do. It's not the only thing. But my point is this. I didn't come up with this methodology. I learned it. It changed my life as a writer. And then I started using it with people who were writers and not writers, people who don't identify as writers. Yeah. The whole point is this, and the reason why it gels so well with why you and I gel, but also why Gateless is such a great fit for the Joy Revolution is because from my understanding, and I am new to the Joy Revolution, your whole thing is you say personal development is not enough. It's not enough. Just develop yourself as a in my own little thing, in my own little world. It must be a mission that connects you to the world at large. And it must rise in you not as anger alone, because you will be over before you're done, but as joy. And what I have felt from Gateless is pure joy. And so I think that Gateless is a great tool for supporting the mission of the Joy Revolution, because it gives your people, the people who are activists and want to move their missions out into the world, it gives them, what does it do? It gives you confidence in your own intuition, your creativity, and your storytelling, and the ways you surface those ideas. It gives you full license to access that. And we pay very close attention to craft so that you become a better writer, not by me telling you, bad word, that's wrong, but by showing you where power is so you lean into that power. It moves like this. And so you become better at your craft. You become more skilled at the tools that you need to get your message out into the world. And I feel like it's a perfect marriage that way.
I feel the same way, and I don't think it's just because we're cousins on Ancestry.com, because I checked. There's a couple people in here, Fiona, Jen. Fiona, you wrote with Terry recently. Like I don't want to be the only one here. Like I've seen the aha moments. I just watched Fiona reread again last night. So like, Jen is laughing at the flowy pants. Eileen Fisher pants, she says. I do feel like it's a good marriage. And one of the things about the Joy Revolution has been like, when you get that spark moment, like, it can be really easy for that spark to go out.
Yes.
It can, and one of the things that we do in the Joy Revolution, when someone has this like, guys, this might be unconventional, but I've always wanted to, and no, don't preempt it. What do you want to do? Right? I've always wanted to talk about blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, you just did. Was that so bad? You know? And I felt
expectation,
yes, and I must say, the first time that I did a Gateless writing session, even as a fucking positive psychologist, where I was like, look for the good first, right? The good came.
You already came with training.
Well, yeah, the first thing that came out of your mouth was, this is a piece that's calorically dense. And I'm like, she is making fun of me right now. Like, calorically dense must mean like he's dense in the mind. It's not clear what he's saying. And the thing is that no, it's very authentic. Like, calorically dense has been something that I've grown to love and accept now. Instead of being I must
be making fun of you. I would never make fun.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I'm so used to writing being like, except for with Boyd and you know, I'm so used to writing like, coming back in and advisors going, we felt your piece was a little calorically dense. And then I'd come home and I'd be like, I guess they mean I need to flush it out. Versus calorically dense is rich and filled with detail.
Yes.
You know, and so like, even coming in as a positive psychologist, it was revolutionary for me to see this kind of feedback played within a certain game, right? Not, with a certain container to it, which, no, these people actually mean what they say. And like as you're working with people, as you're developing your revolution, your voice, and then putting pen to paper, it really does feel, I mean, the writing alone feels like it has wings. That's why we have comment yes, because we are doing a free workshop next week
Yes.
at this time, just so you can see what it looks like. Jen, I know
Come
you've seen it.
experience
Fiona,
it.
I know you've seen it. And so like I just wanted to comment on that because it was so it was such a mind fuck at the beginning because I am so used to like when someone will say something nice, it's my own gremlin in me
You don't trust it.
thinking it's a diss.
You know how many
Yep.
times people say that? They're like, you're just being nice. And I'm like, like people say it to me, they'll say it to our other gateless teachers, and we'll be like, have we met? Because I'm not all that nice. Do you think I would go into a line of work where I just have to be nice to people? Nice is insulting. If I'm going to be nice to you, it is a waste of your time and money. And that's just not at all what it's about. The idea is that you meaning you, Mark, or you, anyone who's in the workshop or anyone who's doing this work with us, you actually don't get much if I say, well, but you should do it this way. People think they want that. But the minute someone criticizes your work or tells you what you really should do instead, part of you shuts down. There's a part of the creative brain that the aperture to that creativity gets tighter and tighter and smaller. And the whole point of Gateless is to open the aperture because most of the world is causing it to squeeze shut. You cannot get at that stuff. And what you just point out when someone goes, well, I know this sounds crazy and I don't know anything, that's a waste of time. So we don't allow that in a Gateless situation. There's no disclaiming of the work.
Nor
Number
in
one,
the
because
Joy
it is
Revolution.
right, because there's no time for it, but also don't manage my expectations.
Yeah.
If you disclaim your work, what you're saying is you don't trust me to hear you. You don't trust me. And if you broadcast to me that you don't trust me, why would I trust you? There has to be trust in that room. Yeah, it's artificial at first because we're saying, here, you're going to trust each other. Here's how you're going to do it. But people who meet in a gateless and in the Joy Revolution gateless environment, they will trust each other very quickly because we give them, there's no reason not to. No one taking pot shots. No one thinks they know more. We advise against no advice giving. We only point out what's working and why it's working. And as someone, I've been doing this now a while, I'm an expert feedbacker. I know what to listen for. And someone else will go, well, I didn't hear all that. It's okay. When you get better at listening, you get better at writing. And everyone thinks they're like, well, my writing's not as good as that person's, and I just heard them read and they were amazing. Good. You know who you wouldn't learn in a room with? People who don't write at all. Good luck at proving your writing that way. I think you could be around people who are brilliant, wouldn't you?
Or people who are kind.
Kind.
I mean, sorry, not kind, nice. People who are nice. The niceties are not something that, they're not something, like, that's an external world thing that we navigate through, the niceties, the compliances of things. And like, nothing about this is nice, but it's kind. And it's unapologetically kind and nurturing. And, and it's fanning the flame. It's saying, yes, yes, yes. Bring that Joy Revolution out. Now connect with somebody on that. And don't connect using this. Connect using these collywobbles that I have. Connect using the parts of the body that, like, I forgot how much of my life that I had lived. And like, when I reconnected the head with the body and then disconnected the head, like, so much more came out. And it was
you come from academics too, and you come from an academic world where people do live above the neck. They exist up here. And you just said it, that you must be in the body. If you've ever read anything that moved you, I guarantee you there was something in it that was written from the body. It was an embodied experience. When we read writing, we love it. Go, oh, I was moved by that. Mm-hmm. Well, your brain is. You feel movement in the body. Moving someone with your work can only happen if you write from the body. But we don't trust our work and we don't trust our bodies.
No,
so
we don't.
Let's get you down into the body and to write from it, because as Suzanne will tell you, the founder of Gateless, we are all natural storytellers. You do not need me to teach you how to do that. What you need is encouragement to find where the power of that story is so that you can lead with it.
Oh, absolutely. And to go back to academia for a second, as a neuroscience major, I even forgot that the nerves in our brains go all the way down to our tummies. They wrap around our heart and go to our tummies. And sometimes we cut that off and we forget about even that vagus nerve that everyone's looking at right now. And like, so even if you're an academic, you cannot, I wish that this was around when I was arguing things for happiness, but like, you cannot argue with the vagus nerve anymore because like it's being scientifically proven. And whether or not you feel like this is a magical thing of positive psychology or gateless, whatever, there's no magic trick to it. It's just reconnecting like yoga does.
No one gives you this room in which to do it. It's very hard because you could join your own little writing or form your own writing group, but people out of sometimes mostly well-intentioned efforts will criticize your work trying to help you. And it just doesn't help because then if someone gets 5 pieces of criticism, they go, well, I don't even know what to do next. After Gateless, they know right where to go. It has a way, the feedback has a way of focusing the attention and getting the wheels turning. It helps with momentum. And really, what do writers complain about? Being stuck. I don't know where to go next.
I don't even call it momentum. I call it like fucking activation energy that like launches you into warp speed. Jorge, good to see you. Our #1 fan from Puerto Rico. I want to see you next week. Alexa, I see you. Carmen, talking about the vagus nerve, we see you. Carmen, you haven't done this yet. I want to see you in there. I know that you're in the body with your laughing yoga. I want to see you next week.
I love that.
Yeah, I want to see you next week trying this out. Because like I can talk about it, I can describe it, but there is nothing like the feeling of being heard or seen. And then also this is one thing, marketers always market to this, right? And I want to make sure that you guys know this is not marketing. The first thing I felt was relief, and marketers often market to your relief. But the second thing that happened was I finished multiple evergreen programs, which I've shown Terry, and I've a 10-parter and a 32-parter. I mean, that is material when I used to struggle to write 5 pages. And it's not about the number of pages and the number of stuff that you get done.
Generated.
Yes, but the stuff that you generate now all of a sudden is applicable with your movement. You are not just walking around with an idea anymore. You've got pen to paper. You've got voice. You've got something to speak in the mic.
You have agency. The whole.
Oh, don't talk to me about agency, sister. You have agency.
You have, and you get to experience it. And we could talk about it all day. Experience it's going to be just something else. It's something totally other. It's next Tuesday, the 22nd at noon. And it is a free session to come and write with us and explore it. And don't tell me, well, I have nothing to write about, nothing to say. Trust me, you will. It's not about, do I have a good essay to share? No one wants your essay. You do all the writing in that moment and you share it and you get a glimpse of what you're capable of. And I want to address one other thing, because this has come up, actually, Jen mentioned it and other people have too. They say, well, even if we love this and we create this in the Joy Revolution and we do it in our Gateless workshops, which with the Joy Revolution, of course, we'll be leading like 6 weeks of writing of this. So we'll be doing this deeply. We will get to know each other's work really well. And someone says, well, what about when I go out into the world and share it? People might not like it. The world isn't gateless. Oh, you're not kidding. The world out there is going to criticize, cajole, make comments, be snarky. The goal is not, well, I guess I'll live in my closet with my lamp. The goal isn't, I guess I'll live in a pillow fort. The goal isn't, I will live in a gateless bubble. The idea is, you strengthen there so that you give 10 times less of a shit when you go out there and other people have comments, because in Gateless, we choose our readers in the Gateless room, right? I don't have people read who aren't Gateless trained. I'm working on a book. I don't have people read it who aren't Gateless. Or if they want to read it, I say, here's what I want to hear from you. Here's what I don't want to hear. I don't want you to put periods in. I don't want you to tell me edit. I don't need you giving me advice on it. What I want you to tell me is where it's sang for you. So you train people on feedback, or you don't give a you-know-what about what other people say, because you got strong and sovereign. The goal is not codependency. Oh, well, I can't do anything unless Marc and Terry say it's good. Well, then we've failed, because the idea is to show you where you're strong so that you know, and you're less willing to bend to shitheads' ideas about what your work should be.
And I absolutely have I have felt it. I've seen it in the Joy Revolution. I've seen it in Gateless. I've experienced it for myself. I even wrote about an experience where I was booed mercilessly when I started a band. And then it was at the point where I stopped giving a shit, when we started getting good and I started focusing on this, what was going on in here and what I had to say. And then all of a sudden I'm back in Gateless again, and they're giving me back the agency. The agency to come across and say, look, this is my piece. This is the fundamentals to thrive. This is toxic positivity. All the things that I got to write, and started off with a story about my dad, or a story about a Coke can, a story about
or about a car you wanted to buy.
That car, yes, Sean Gonzalez and the Frogger and my Hornet. You never know where this is gonna go. And one of the things is, when you start with the story and everyone you think it's gonna be so specific and stuff, people are saying like, oh, that's totally me. I never got a remote control car before, but like, I remember what it was like to be a kid that obsessed over something.
That's right.
And not get it.
The more universal. People go, no one wants to hear about my story about the car I wanted to buy as a kid, the toy car. Actually, they will be moved by that more than your advice about what we should do with our lives. We believe and trust each other through the sharing of story. And you do that exceptionally well. And I will stand by my comment that it is calorically dense in the richest way, the way a chocolate torte is calorically dense. There's a lot to linger on, a lot of flavor.
The way that Filipino greasy food is calorically dense. You guys, if you haven't experienced the revolution, we're going to give you 2 shots to experience it next week. So this is the call to action. This is the stuff that we do. But I firmly believe that if you just come out and you don't even intend to take the Joy Revolution, I'm going to be teaching on Thursday, not a Gateless session. I'm going to be teaching about an intro to positive psychology. And guess what? I'm going to be teaching it like a professor, and you're going to fucking love it. And Terry's going to be doing Gateless style writing on Tuesday at 12. Just say yes right now, and I'm going to get your names. Pass this to someone, bring a friend. And even if you were like me, I never intended to read, and then I just kind of pushed myself. There's certain things that you can hear if you just listen. If you just listen to things, and then like the words deft and craft they're not as intimidating to you after a while, because they were intimidating to me at first. Deft, craft, what? But the more you listen, the better you get. The more you're surrounded with people, the like minds, the easier it is to move your movement forward. Yes. You never know what's going to come out of these sessions or the Joy Revolution. But the thing is that if you know that there's something bigger going on in here that you're ready to release, come out.
We're going to share a link. I don't have it now, but we're going to have it so that everyone who wants to get a spot on the free Gateless workshop can join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, this is why it's called the Golden Mic. I don't know if you like visuals, visioning activities. I don't know how woo-woo you are. But Terry, I want to thank you for coming on. The last piece here is, I want you to imagine you're in New York today, right? So I want you to imagine that over there in New York, there is a golden mic coming down and coming in front of you. Now, this golden mic has the ability to translate into every language across the multiverse. Everybody's going to hear what you have to say. And of course, a few people are going to pick up what you have to say because they need to hear it right now. You can say whatever the fuck you want to the world in the multiverse right now because everyone's listening. So Terry Trespicio, your golden mic is on right now.
No pressure.
No pressure.
I think that the message I would say, if I can reverberate through the globe, is be wary of people who think they know better than you about what you should do. We trust external sources just a little too much. And our seeking for consultative help can turn into a dependency on others and a distrust of ourselves. You actually do know what you want to do and be and spend time doing. The fear that it's the wrong thing tends to hold you back. But if you could get rid of that judgment and actually unabashedly, unapologetically spend time doing what you care about, what you're good at, you would do it. It's a matter of whether you feel, oh, is someone going to be disappointed in me? Does someone else think I should do something different? Screw everyone else. most people don't know what the hell they're doing ever. I think that we give other people just too much credit. Surround yourself with people who support you and your own sovereignty and the decisions you make, and be very dubious about people who think they know better.
Amazing. It sounds like you rehearsed that one, but I'm not gonna judge
I
that because
cannot. I hope it hangs together.
it's gateless style. I love the depth and the craft of that. The pacing was fantastic. Y'all, Terry and I love spending time with each other. If anyone has been to Terry's workshop or the Joy Revolution workshop, come out, bring a friend, say yes, and it's fun. It's fun. It's serious fun. And then again, I gotta get the rust off of my lives. So I'm gonna say my catchphrase. So on behalf of Terry and I, for those of you who are feeling good or not, because there's some weird vibes going on right now, but you are living in your full purpose, what the fuck are you gonna do to change history for the better? I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.